Alright everyone, so as you know, Greenville has very recently, just yesterday, had an update which expanded the map and gave it a brand new highway. And as you also know, on my channel I have done a money making tutorial and it is now outdated, so it is a new method which I'm going to go over today. So real quickly before we get into this method, you are going to need a car with the new lane assist feature, which I can confirm the 2022 BKM W40 does have, since it is one of the new update cars. And it is on by default, so you don't have to purchase anything to enable it. Now I'm pretty sure you can guess where this is going. You're going to want to go over to the highway. If I can find my way there. I still have not got my bearings around this new expansion yet. So now you're at the freeway entrance. You can start anywhere, by the way, but wherever you start, you are going to have to go all the way down to the freeway to the end like I am. I mean, you can start this anywhere to be fair, but starting it from the end is obviously the best option. Alright, so once you're at the end of the highway, it can be the other end, but I'm just using this end for demonstration purposes. You're going to want to select a job if you haven't already. Obviously not an interactive job because you're going to be in the car. And basically it's really simple. Just set your cruise control. You don't have to be in sport mode. It doesn't really matter for fuel, I don't think, but I prefer to set it to drive just because it's a bit quieter. And once you're in your cruise control, if your car does have the lane assist, it will come up with these two icons here, and if it's engaged, it will turn green. It's not that hard to engage it. All you have to do is just set your cruise control and get into a lane, and it should just do it automatically. Now, if you're wondering why it's 55 miles per hour, not 70 like the speed limit, I did actually do some testing yesterday, and 55 miles per hour is still the most optimal way to earn for drive to earn. Now the next bit I want to get onto here is obviously every once in a while this little wheel icon is going to flash and it wants you to put some sort of input into the game. Now obviously you could just sit here manually like wiggling your mouse every time it does that, but that is a bit tiring. So what you can do is set an auto clicker. Now I don't fully recommend this because it does count as AFK grinding. However, I don't know if it does fully. If you're going to set up an auto clicker and you're there but you just don't want to have to wiggle your mouse every 5 seconds, I presume it would be not bannable, but I still would not risk it. So that is the only downside to this method. You do have to wiggle your mouse, but for the amount of money you're getting, I think it's a fair price to pay. And if you are wondering what happens if you don't wiggle your mouse when a thing comes up, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it now. So you can see it's flashing, and in a minute it should go red there, and it will just automatically stop you there. So that's obviously to stop AFK grinding just flat out, and you don't have to do anything hard to get it to start again. You just continue on and set your cruise control again. So that's what happens if you don't wiggle your mouse. So according to the developers, if you're going 70 miles per hour, it's going to take around 6 minutes to complete this highway. And if you do the math, going 55 adds about 1 minute and 40 seconds. So it takes about 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go from one end to the other on the highway. And that is going one way, not back and forth. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just going to set a time lapse till we get to the end of the highway. And when you come to the end of the highway, obviously stop or you're going to go off that edge, which I've done it many times. It is super annoying to get back up, so I recommend you pay attention. So once you're on the other side, really simple, you just turn around. For a method like this where you just sit back, do absolutely nothing, I think it is probably one of the best methods in the game right now, if not the best. Again, if you do have an auto clicker, I don't really recommend it as I don't know if it's bannable or not. So I just personally wouldn't do it. I think if an auto clicker isn't bannable, this would be the #1 method in the game, but I do really think it is bannable, so I really don't recommend doing it. I just want to get my point across there. It's within your right to try that, of course, but please don't hold me accountable if you get like terminated or anything like that. I don't really want to be responsible for that. So yeah, I'm going to fast forward till we're at the end of the highway here. Alright, so once you come to the end of the highway again, you can just turn around, but I'm going to stop here just for the purpose of keeping this short. So we're going to estimate the math here, and by estimate I mean we're going to do some calculations. So we started off with 924,400 and I ended with 932,451, and this is one highway length, not backwards and forwards. So now let's calculate how much you'll get per hour. So from one highway length we got 7,600, and if it takes 7 minutes to cross one side of the highway, which I calculated, we need to divide that by 60 to get 8.57. This is how many times you'll be able to go backwards and forwards on the highway on average per hour. Then we'll times that by 7,600 to get 64,700. And then let's assume you have a job equipped / enabled, which will give you 650 every 5 minutes. So we'll just round up to 65,000. So that's 65,000 every hour, which in my opinion is pretty good. I said last night I earned around 300 and 400k in just a couple of hours, so it is a very powerful method. I also just want to make it clear, I haven't tested the roadmap dealership method in absolutely ages. The last time I actually did it was when I demonstrated it back then. So I don't know if it's changed or not, or if it's got better or worse. But yeah, I just wanted to demonstrate this method here, if anybody does want to utilise this one. But yeah, there's not many things left to say. Just remember your car. Just remember to get a car that has the auto lane assist. A really good tip is to get a fuel efficient car. There is pit stop. I think there's, I believe, one pit stop on each side with a fuel station. If not, there is definitely a pit stop on this side I'm on right now with a fuel station. It should be fine if you're stopping off there. But yeah, it's just more efficient to get a more fuel efficient car, so you don't have to keep stopping off every couple of runs around the highway. But yeah, there's not much else to say. I'll make sure to update you on this method if there is anything added or removed from it, like buffs or nerfs. Anyway, apart from that, I'll see you soon.